Good afternoon and welcome again to the 96th meeting of the National Advisory Council for Nursing Research. So as a brief outline, I will be presenting today on the budget update and news and items for HHS, NIH, and NINR specifically. So most of you have probably realized that Dr. Grady is not here this morning. We actually have a lot in common sometimes, but she is on her way to a fabulous vacation today. So she sends her regards. I asked her to actually send us a picture we could show, and she said right now it'd be on the inside of an airplane. So that wasn't exciting enough. So we chose this picture instead. She has retired as the NINR director after 23 years. Her last day was last Friday. Nursing science and the broader scientific community is tremendously appreciative of Dr. Grady's many contributions, and we at NINR will strive to uphold the standard she has set as we move into the future. At this time, it's my pleasure to serve as acting director until a permanent replacement is named. I bring to this position experience as a funded researcher for a number of years when I was at the University of Tennessee where I had R15s and R01s. And then also I bring to this experience as 6 years here at NIH. So it's a combination of the two that I hope will provide me with the understanding to guide this, during this acting time, to guide us through to the next permanent director. So I am frequently asked about the search process. What really happens next? Well, we actually have a few updates. But in general, the way this works is that the search is coordinated through the National Institutes of Health director, Dr. Francis Collins. So he forms the search committee, and the search committee will meet over the next 6-8 months, whatever is needed, to review resumes and to interview applicants. After that period of time, they will make some recommendations, and Dr. Collins will decide who will be the next director. So the search committee has been formed. We were told today that we do have a search committee, and I do not know who's on the search committee. Some of you may know who's on the search committee. I do not. We have been given a position description. So that is actually going to be up by the door, and anyone please take a copy of that. We will also have it available on our website, and it will be available in other locations as well. So the last question I'm usually asked is, what can I do? How can I help? And what you can do to help in this process is to encourage outstanding applicants to apply. That is probably the biggest hurdle, is actually getting those really good candidates through the doorway. So if you would encourage people to apply, if you know someone who is interested and really, is sort of on the fence, there are individuals who can call that person and actually encourage them as well. So do keep that in mind. We are really looking for excellent candidates. Dr. Grady, as I said earlier, served for 23 years. So we're looking for our next person to lead the ship. Okay. I've already, and if you have any questions about that, just let me know later today, or if you're interested in it, let me know that as well, and I'll pass your name forward. NINR, as I said earlier, is pleased to welcome our new council members. I'm going to do a little bit of a budget update at this point in time. The fiscal year 2018 came to a close will come to a close the end of this month, September 30th. As a reminder, NINR was appropriated $158 million in 2018, and NIH had $37 billion, and that was about an 8.8% increase from the previous year. We received a 5.2% increase. Some people may say, why isn't it 8.8% across the board? The reason is some funds are actually given to specific projects, and many of these you've heard of. There are areas that we are actually interested, many and NINR are interested in, such as Alzheimer's disease got $1.8 billion. The Brain Research Initiative got $400 million. The All of Us Research Initiative got $290 million, and $300 million went to the Cancer Moonshot. So how does the budget for NINR look? This is for fiscal year 2017, since we have not closed out 2018. What you really will see on this is that we still provide a large percentage of our budget actually goes to training, larger than many of the other institutes. We feel that we are still really encouraging the training of our nurse scientists, and that's why we have so much funding in training. Most of our funds also go to investigator-initiated research through this portion there. Overall, approximately 80% of NINR's funds go out to extramural scientists across our country to fund the research there. Then we also have 8% that stays here to fund our intramural program. Earlier today, you had the opportunity to see the posters, and you will also be hearing from our intramural scientists later on this afternoon. And now for some recent news from the Department of Health and Human Services. Margaret Heckler, who served as Secretary of Health and Human Services during the Reagan administration, died on August the 6th. During her time as Secretary, Ms. Heckler was among the first high-ranking officials to call for additional federal funding for AIDS research and treatments, and was a strong proponent for research involving health disparities. Prior to becoming HHS Secretary, she served 16 years in the House, and after her service as HHS Secretary, she was appointed U.S. Ambassador to Ireland. And now some updates from NIH. Dr. Helena Langevin was selected as the Director of the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health by Dr. Collins on August the 29th. She's expected to join us here November of 2018. As director, she will oversee the federal government's lead agency for scientific research on the diverse medical and healthcare systems and practices and products that are not generally considered part of conventional medicine. As the PI of several NIH-funded studies, her research interests have centered around the role of connective tissues in low back pain and the mechanisms of acupuncture, manual, and movement-based therapies. More recently, she's been looking at inflammation resolution mechanisms within connective tissues. The Healthcare Systems Research Collaboratory was developed by the NIH Common Fund in 2012 and is currently supporting 9 large-scale clinical trials with healthcare systems across the U.S. The ongoing trials focus on many different diseases, including colon cancer, chronic pain, kidney failure, hospitalized acquired infections, suicide prevention, and multiple chronic medical conditions. The collaboratory recently announced 5 new research awards totaling $4.1 million for a 1-year planning phase, with an estimated $30 million expected for 4 subsequent years of study implementation. Storing, managing, standardizing, and publishing the vast amounts of data produced by biomedical research is a critical mission for NIH. In support of this effort, NIH in June released its first strategic plan for data science that provides a roadmap for modernizing the NIH-funded biomedical data science ecosystem. Over the course of the next year, NIH will begin implementing its strategy. By maximizing the value of data generated through NIH-funded efforts, the pace of biomedical discoveries and medical breakthroughs for better health outcomes can be substantially accelerated. To advance NIH data science across the extramural and intramural research communities, the agency will hire a chief data strategist. This management function will guide the development and implementation of NIH data science activities and provide leadership within the broader biomedical research data ecosystem. NIH has also launched a new initiative to harness the power of commercial cloud computing and provide NIH biomedical researchers access to the most advanced, cost-effective computational infrastructure tools and services available. The STRIDES, which stands for Science and Technology Research Infrastructure for Discovery, Experimentation, and Sustainability. I know why they don't call it that name. STRIDES initiative launches with Google Cloud as its first industry partner and aims to reduce economic and technological barriers to access and computing on large biomedical data sets to accelerate biomedical advances. In line with NIH's first ever data science strategic plans, STRIDES will establish additional innovative partnerships to broaden access to services and tools, including training. Nearly all of the 27 NIH institutes and centers, including NINR, fund some aspects of child health research. Accordingly, NIH has recently formed the Trans-NIH Pediatric Research Consortium to coordinate pediatric research programs across its institutes and centers. In fiscal year 2017, the support totaled more than $4 billion. The new consortium aims to harmonize these activities, explore gaps and opportunities in the overall pediatric research portfolio, and set priorities. The new consortium will be led by the NICHD director, and that's Child Health Director, in addition to project-based interactions. The full consortium will meet several times a year to discuss scientific opportunities and potential new areas of collaboration, including training. As you know, NINR plays an active role in a number of trans-NIH activities. I'd like to highlight one of these now, the Trans-NIH Coordinating Committee on Research on Women's Health. This long-standing committee has received an enhanced mandate from the 21st Century Cures Act. Led by the director of the Office for Research on Women's Health here at NIH, the committee has been charged by the NIH director to develop collaborative strategies for answering the most pressing research questions related to women's health. Moving forward, women's health research must be incorporated into all IC strategic plans. Dr. Yvonne Bryan represents NINR on this committee. As you may recall, in previous council members, we've discussed the changes NIH is instituting in its clinical trials policy. These changes were meant to take effect on January the 25th of this year. However, on July 20th, NIH released a notice informing the scientific community of certain modifications in the implementation of these policies. Those changes include a delay in enforcement of policies requiring that investigators register and report their studies in clinicaltrials.gov, and institutions of a period of leniency for applications submitted to the incorrect FOA based on study type design. I encourage you to review this further at the website. NINR frequently partners with other NIH ICs to support research endeavors that cross traditional boundaries. Examples of current trans-NIH funding opportunities in which NINR participates includes non-healing ulcerative wounds and aging, reduced health disparities among minorities and underserved, age-related microbiota changes and their implications in chronic disease prevention, treatment, and progression, improving patient adherence to treatment and prevention, and early-stage clinical trials for the spectrum of Alzheimer's disease and age-related cognitive decline. And now some news of note from NINR. As some of you may know, our NINR council member, Dr. Karen Manise, died unexpectedly on August the 1st. Karen was a vital member of our council who, for the last year, brought an invaluable perspective through her thoughtful analysis and evaluation of NINR grant applications brought before council. Dr. Benitez was professor and associate dean for research and scholarship at the University of Alabama School of Nursing. She served as co-director of the PhD program and also as the co-leader of the Cancer Control and Population Sciences program at the Comprehensive Cancer Center. And also she was the PI of the R25 Cancer Prevention and Control Training program at the University of Alabama in Birmingham. Her academic interests including cancer, breast cancer survivorship, disparity research, and mentoring. Although her tenure was cut short, Karen will be greatly missed, and we are indebted to her for her service. In honor of her life and dedication, we will continue our commitment to support research to build the scientific foundation for clinical practice and to improve health and quality of life for all Americans. I want to remind you of the two remaining 2018 NINR Directors Lectures. On September the 25th, Dr. Anne Marie McCarthy will present Distraction in Action, Helping Children Cope with Painful Procedures. Dr. McCarthy is a professor at the University of Iowa. Her pediatric clinical experience has been in general pediatrics, community health centers, and pediatric neurology. Her research area of interest is primarily children with chronic health conditions, with an emphasis on cognitive behavioral interventions for pain management in children and children with chronic conditions in the school setting. Also, on November the 14th, Dr. Christopher Lee will present the final 2018 NINR Director's Lecture. His topic will be Integrative Biobehavioral Research in Heart Failure. Dr. Lee is professor and associate dean for research at the Connell School of Nursing at Boston College. Dr. Lee has dedicated his career to better understanding heart disease, improving long-term outcomes for patients and their families. Check the NINR website for more information in the upcoming weeks on the 2019 Director's Lectures. As a reminder, past Director's Lectures are available on YouTube a few weeks following the events. NINR has recently updated its brochure, Palliative Care, the Relief You Need When You Have a Serious Illness. The revised publication is available in English and in Spanish. The brochure, originally titled Palliative Care, the Relief You Need When You're Experiencing the Symptoms of Serious Illness, has been revised to reflect the most recent research, terminology, and practices. The purpose of the brochure is to provide patients with serious illnesses and their families with clear, evidence-based information about what palliative care is, who it benefits, and how it works. The brochure also addresses certain misconceptions about palliative care, such as that it is only for those nearing the end of life. Additional information is available on the NINR website. I'm pleased to announce that NINR has developed, and it is now open for business, a new website. This has been developed in collaboration with the National Cancer Institute and the National Human Genome Research Institute. It's called the Omics Nursing Science and Education Network, or ONSEN. And it's a central resource to assist interested individuals in including omics in their program of nursing research. It was a collaborative effort to build this over several years, and it was initiated by a work group of 15 extramural nurse scientists with expertise in genomics and other omics, as well as education, practice, and research. The work group was led by Dr. Jean Jenkins and Dr. Kathy Calzone of NCI and Dr. Lois Tully here at NINR, and I also participated in building this. The work group members focused on three primary initiatives to enhance research collaborations, identify common data elements, and education, training, and competency of nursing science, with the ultimate goal of achieving the genomics nursing science blueprint research recommendations previously put forth by Genomic Nursing Nursing State of Science Advisory Panel. We're also grateful to the NINR Bootcamp participants because they did some pilot testing for this. I'd also like to recognize Dr. Yvette Conley, who's on council, who participated in building this as well. One of the main ways that we describe this when we go out, because all of those words didn't really say this, I want to kind of put it in some lay language. One of the main ways we describe this is sort of a match.com for people with research samples and those who want to do research. So those with samples can actually upload that information into this website, and students, doctoral students or new faculty members, individuals looking for samples to actually work with or data to work with, can then find the access to these samples on this website and they can get into contact together. They can contact each other and see if they can use the samples or use the data. So we are not actually, the other thing I like to say about this, it is not a data repository. People will not be putting data into this website. This is just a way for individuals to connect, is through the website. On July 31st, an all-day workshop sponsored by NINR convened to discuss rural health, in particular issues surrounding health disparities, gaps in existing knowledge, and recommendations for future rural health nursing research. A distinguished array of attendees from across academia and government, including the Surgeon General, Dr. Jerome Adams, and Deputy Surgeon General, Dr. Sylvia Trent Adams, herself a nurse, discussed strategies for bringing attention to and reduce health disparities in the often neglected area. As many of you know, the American Association of Colleges of Nurses recently called attention to the concerning continuing decline in the number of nurses pursuing PhD degrees. On August the 22nd, representatives from AACN, NINR, and a number of academic institutions gathered to discuss this critical issue, and we look forward to continued discussion with our colleagues on ways to address the decline. And we're calling that a lot of times the PhD pipeline. NINR has recently launched a redesigned version of its own website. The website features a cleaner design and easy-to-navigate structure that includes a new navigation menu layout with a quick links section added. The goal of the redesign is to make it easier for the scientific community and the public to find what they are looking for on our website. And needless to say, this took a lot of time and effort, and I want to thank all of those in NINR who spent time to test this, to use it, so that we can have a much better website. Thank you. Additional NINR activities that occurred this spring and summer included a meeting with representatives of the American Thoracic Society, remarks delivered at the orientation for the latest group of Fogarty Center Global Health Fellows, a meeting with representatives from the Spanish General Council of Nursing, and an overview of nursing science and the role of NINR provided to a group of University of Virginia School of Nursing students. Here's a look at a selection of current NINR-sponsored funding opportunities, promoting caregiver health using self-management, palliative care needs of individuals with advanced rare diseases, as well as their caregivers, addressing unmet needs in persons with dementia to decrease behavioral symptoms and improve quality of life, chronic condition, self-management in children and adolescents, obesity and asthma, awareness and self-management, and maternal nutrition and pre-pregnancy obesity, effects on mother, infants, and children. So these are all open and are potential funding opportunities. Our special program, symposium focusing on precision health and digital technologies, was held recently in conjunction with this year's NINR Methodologies Boot Camp. The symposium featured scientific panels and a poster session aimed at engaging graduate nursing students, nursing faculty, and clinicians who are interested in the clinical applications and clinical focus of smart health, smart technologies, digital health data, wearables and sensors, virtual augmented reality, and molecular omics data. And this picture was actually taken in one of our largest auditoriums here at NIH, and you can see that it was pretty much a full house, and it was very exciting. There are some, you can actually access the video at that website. This summer, NINR's Division of Intramural Research welcomed a new group of trainees from the Washington, D.C. area and throughout the U.S. These trainees joined in DIR, or intramural, as undergraduate fellows, post-baccalaureate fellows, interns, and volunteers. Summer interns conducted their research for 8 weeks, and some trainees are in NIH training programs such as community college summer enrichment programs. Now for a few updates on our NINR staff. I'd like to tell you that on July the 10th, Dr. Jessica Gill was appointed Deputy Scientific Director of the Division of Intramural Research. You will hear from Dr. Gill later this afternoon when she gives the update on the intramural program. She will also, I think most importantly, earlier this year, Jessica was named NINR's first tenured senior investigator. So we're very proud of that designation. I just stand up. Wait. So very, very pleased to have that, and it certainly shows the growth and maturation of the intramural program. Dr. Gill is a Lasker Clinical Research Scholar and a senior investigator at NIH now. Dr. Polly Joseph, who is an assistant clinical investigator in NINR, has successfully competed for selection in the NIH Distinguished Scholars Program. This program focuses on mentoring and enrichment as it seeks to facilitate the research success of outstanding tenure track and assistant clinical investigators who have a demonstrated commitment to diversity and inclusion. Selection of the inaugural class of distinguished scholars occurred in a competitive process based on the candidates' commitment to diversity. Yeah. Where is Polly? There you are. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so these are a few more awards, which are excellent awards. These are the NIH Directors Awards recipients. Last week, 6 NINR staffers were the recipients of the Distinguished NIH Directors Award. Nathan Brown and Matthew Aliso were given awards for exceptional contributions in data gathering and process mapping for the Optimize NIH Phase 1 Implementation of Ethics, Freedom of Information Act, and Committee Management with the Optimize NIH Subcommittee team. Dr. Martha Matoka received an award for extraordinary multi-agency collaboration and leadership in facilitating research on the treatment of chronic pain with non-pharmacologic approaches within the HHS VA DoD collaboratory project with the HHS VA DoD collaboratory team. Dr. Rebecca Rasuli received her award for exceptional leadership and dedication in implementing Stage 2 of the Human Heredity and Health in Africa program with the H3 Africa Stage 2 team. And then Dr. Lois Tully received her award for outstanding accomplishments as a member of the Medical Rehabilitation Research Coordinating Committee. Could all of you stand up if you're those of you in the room? And I think I see most of us. One. I think this is, even though I stumbled over a few of the words, I think you can see that we reach out to all different areas that NIH is working on the science. And so I think it's really exciting that our teams are so collaborative and working with others, and that we are receiving these types of awards. It's great recognition for NINR. In addition, we have another award. Dr. Karen Huss of our extramural group has received the 2018 Kathleen A. Dracup Award from the American Heart Association's Council on Cardiovascular and Stroke Nursing. The award is presented, The award is presented to honor a senior member of the Council on Cardiovascular and Stroke Nursing who is well known for their gifts and generosity in mentoring early career scientists. And the award will actually be presented this November at the association's meeting. Karen, could you stand? So congratulations to all of our award winners. I'm also pleased to welcome Dr. Cheryl Nordstrom to NINR's Scientific Review Branch, where she leads the Institute's only standing study section, the Nursing Research Review Committee, charged with reviewing individual training grants. She previously worked at the NIH Center for Scientific Review in the Division of AIDS, Behavior, and Population Health. Prior to joining NIH in 2016, Cheryl served as research faculty at the Wayne State University College of Nursing in Detroit, Michigan, where she was also the director of clinical research partnerships. As a methodologist, her research on health disparities has focused on socioeconomic status, neighborhoods, and health literacy, and she has co-authored over 30 peer-reviewed publications. Welcome to our group. NINR's Division of Science Policy and Public Liaison has prepared a handout regarding our recent outreach efforts, which are available by the door. The handout has been provided to council members also as a PDF. And as always, we remind you to bookmark the NINR website for the latest news and information from the Institute. And don't forget to help us advertise, help us market for a new director. Thank you very much.